Hello, my name is Lavelle Gaines. I attend CCAC. I'm currently in school for early childhood education, and I'm currently doing a PowerPoint presentation on brain development for Professor Preety. And I'm going to begin. Brain development. Brain development in the early years of a child is only complete if we first examine the origins of this process during the prenatal months. So the brain development, it starts right from the womb. It starts forming right while you're already in your mom's sac. Brain is already transforming to become who you're going to become once you come out of the womb. Brain development is a protracted process that begins about 2 weeks after conception and continues into young adulthood 20 years later. So your brain is constantly developing from the time 2 weeks after being conceived all the way till you're 20 years old non-stop. So what you learning in those first 20 years is very valuable and important as an infant, as a toddler, and as an adult. Brain development. About 2 weeks after conception, the developing embryo has organized itself into a 3-layer spherical structure. In one area of the sphere, the cells stick to form what is called the neural plate. Your neural plate, which could be basically part of your nervous system, which is everything from your spinal cord on down, is controls your nerves. Everything starts right from the brain. Once the neural plate is formed, this creates the neural tube, the inner cells of which will lead to the formation of the central nervous system, which I would just talk about, brain and spinal cord, which I would talk about, while the outer cells will give rise to the autonomic nervous system, nerves outside the brain and spinal cord. Once the neural tube is closed, it becomes a 3-vesicle structure, and shortly thereafter a 5-vesicle structure. So your brain, with the neural plate, it controls everything. That's why some people can have, I want to say, spina bifida. That's why some people can have be flop children. It's hard to kind of describe it. I'm kind of learning about it myself. It starts right from the brain, and it is basically part of your development of what you're going to deal with in your body for the rest of your life. Brain development until the stages of synaptogenesis. The stages of brain development are largely gene-driven. So your brain development, it could start from your genes. It could be inherited from your ancestors. It could be inherited from your parents. It could start, just your brain development could start from your genetics and where you came from. That's part of your brain development. Brain development. The final process involved in the development of brain is called myelination. Regions of the brain in certain sensory and motor areas are myelinated early in process. It is complete around the preschool period. So as you're learning your growth development skills, your sensory, your growth, your motor skills, it starts right from the beginning of just your brain development, and it's very important and valuable for us preschool teachers to understand that our children, their brain is still developing at such a young age, so we can't be too hard on them. We have to basically teach them according to their age development, according to how they learn, according to how they were made, how they're structured from their brain to develop as a young adult until they're a young adult. Brain development in general. Brain development begins a few weeks after conception and starts to be complete by early adulthood. The basic structure of the brain is laid down primarily during the prenatal period and early childhood, and the formation and refinement of neural networks continues over the long term. The brain is much more sensitive to experience in the first few years of life than in later years. The plasticity of brain underlies much of the learning that occurs during this period. Brain development. Teachers play an important role in early childhood education as a child is learning, growing, and developing. The first 5 years of childhood, your brain is constantly developing and programming what you are taught and helps as you become an adult. The brain is a valuable and important part of the body that controls everything. So the first 5 years of a child's life can be who they are, with their brain development could be who they're going to become as an adult. So it's very important for them to be in an environment that they will grow and learn in an education place, whether it's child care, preschool, caregiver, whoever's teaching them, to teach them stuff that could be long-term, that help them be able to be successful in life, long-term learners. And brain development. In my research, I learned how brain development starts from the womb and how important the brain can be when it comes to development of our body. Genetics, taste, feel, and smell, everything starts with our brain. If your brain dies, you become in a vegetable state of mind and is no longer able to do anything in life. You're basically wheelchair bound, your brain is dead, you're no longer able to walk, talk, do things that you used to do when your brain was working. So your brain is a very important part of the body, is everything. And I just would say that in this research also, I just would like to share that your brain controls everything in your body, from your nervous system to your limbs to your taste, smell, feel, just everything is just so viable and important. And your brain is the most important thing in your body, if you ask me, to even be able to function in life, to even be able to learn. Without your brain, you cannot learn, you cannot play as a kid. If you know what I'm saying, if you have brain problems, you can't interact and talk with people, you can't be the person that you want to be once your brain is not developing the way it's supposed to have developed. And I would just like to say, I learned a lot about brain development. Other than what I just shared with y'all, I also learned stuff, that I could better share in the near future in my classroom with my students when I do my next PowerPoint, and I'm a little bit more seasoned. This is my first PowerPoint that I did since I started school, and I think it was pretty for even putting this, together for us to do this, because my last 2 classes I didn't have to do this, but it is important as a teacher to be able to do PowerPoints and present the PowerPoints to your students, to the parents if you have to whoever, this is something that is part of the educational field, just knowing how to do PowerPoints. And brain development was pretty easy, but it was, like I said, it could have been challenging if, if I had to keep going on and on and on and on. But I'm gonna stop right here and say thank you, and thanks whoever takes the time to even listen to my PowerPoint presentation. And everyone, have a blessed day. Bye-bye.